ดีค่ะ Very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight.
Good evening, and we hope you have had a restful weekend and also productive Monday. And kicking off the program with perhaps the biggest news in the business world in Thailand right now, actually. We have actually reported quite extensively before on the potential merger between two giant telecom companies, which are True and DTAC. But now the third player in Thailand is making a new move to counterbalance that kind of move and shake up in the telecom industry in Thailand as well. So Advanced Info Service, or AIS, has announced its decision to acquire Triple T Broadband public company, which owns 3BB Broadband and invests in the Jasmine Broadband Internet Infrastructure Fund, or JSIF, for a total of 32.4 billion baht to expand its internet service offering in Thailand, especially in the upcountry provinces. So through its subsidiary Advanced Wireless Network, or AWN, AIS has agreed to buy 7.5 billion shares, or 99.8% of Triple T Broadband from Acumen, or ACU, a subsidiary of Jasmine International Public Company, or JAS, which includes the acquisition of two other subsidiaries of JAS as well as Triple T and InCloud, and the deal is worth 19.5 billion baht. The other deal is the acquisition of 1.5 billion units in JSIF, or 19% of all the investment units, worth about 12.9 billion baht. The CEO of AIS said that this investment marks an important step in the company's business strategy to expand into home internet service provision and to become a complete digital technology service provider. He also said that the deal will enable AIS to expand internet broadband service provision through fiber optic cables to a wider customer base so that more people will get access to the internet, especially those living in rural areas, and that this will also reduce the need to lay new cables, which would be a duplication of infrastructure. Just to give you an idea of the landscape of telecom providers and subscribers in Thailand. So AIS Fiber now has almost 2 million customers, while Triple T Broadband has 3.6 million customers. And the deals will expand its customer base to 5.5 million, which will exceed the 4.7 million of True Online, which is the other internet service provider. And if the merger between True and DTAC goes through, they will increase the customer base to 51.3 million mobile phone users, compared to 43.7 million of the current market leader AIS. So what we can see here, Nad, is those giants are taking matters into their own hands, basically trying to acquire more of internet-based shares, as well as, of course, as subscribers, just to be able to counter the other force. But that would mean that there will, of course, with the merger going through later in the future, there will just be two main service providers, which is actually not very good, not very ideal, because, in the ideal world, as if you have as many players in the market as possible, then we can ensure that customers will be prioritized, for example, instead of, okay, it's not yet monopoly, but getting there, or oligopoly, if you may call it.
Well, we can expect a fierce competition in the telecom industry in Thailand, but it's just only the two main players if such mergers go through as well. And whether this is a piece of good news or not, the BTS will begin charging fares on its Green Line extensions from this August onwards. BTS Skytrain passengers who use either of the two extensions of the Green Line between Bering and Keha in Samut Prakan and between Mochit and Kukot in Pathum Thani will begin paying fares in August. The decision to charge fares on the two extensions, which have been free to use so far, was made at the meeting of the board of Krungthep Thanakom Company, the investment arm of the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, on Saturday. Bangkok Governor Thattat Sithipan, the company's chairman Thong Thong Chantarangsu, and Deputy Bangkok Governor Wisnu Sapsompon were among the board members who attended the meeting. The governor said that the decision to start collecting fares on the two extensions will enable the BMA to earn revenue to help repay its mountain of debt and interest thereon, estimated at about 100 billion baht. However, he said that officials will look into the amount owed to determine whether it was legally justified, but did not mention the train fares of either of the two extension routes. The infrastructure construction costs of the two extensions were met by the Mass Rapid Transit Authority, or the MRTA, under the jurisdiction of the Transport Ministry, and are estimated at about 60 billion baht. The train carriages, operating costs, and the accrued amount of uncollected fares on the two extensions since they opened due to indecision over the pricing are met by BTS Group Holdings PLC and are estimated at about 40 billion baht. Once a decision is reached on the fares, the amount uncollected from passengers will be charged to the BMA by BTS Holdings. The meeting also agreed to publicly disclose the contents of the concession contracts for the BTS Skytrain system for the sake of transparency. Governor Thattat also said that there are several complicated issues in the contracts, but a team of city officials will try to simplify them for the public. And to give you a bit of a background, the whole BTS system is actually divided into 3 phases. So the first phase comprises 2 routes, which you are already familiar with, which are from Mochit to Onut and from the National Stadium to Wong Vien Nhai. This phase was wholly funded by the BTS, which was awarded the concession to operate the routes for 30 years since 1999 under a build, operate, and transfer contract. And the second phase involves 2 extensions from Onut to Bering and from Wong Vien Nhai to Bang Hwa. The BMA through Krungthep Thanakom invested in the infrastructure construction, while BTS invested in train carriages and the operating system. And during that time, former Bangkok Governor Sukhumpan Buripat approved the signing of the contract to allow BTS to operate the 2 extensions for 30 years from 2012 to 2042. And the revenues from train fares are to be returned to the BMA. And lastly, the third phase consists of 2 extensions from Bering to Keha and from Mochit to Kukot. So it's quite unfortunate for passengers that they have to pay for the rides for that extensions as well.
Right. And actually, just to clarify the matter, the Bangkok governor will still have to talk to other stakeholders in this in regards to the concession extension to BTS Green Line system as well. So this is actually a separate issue because the new cost is only just for the extended routes on the BTS, but things will actually have to be further discussed when it comes to the overall fares, especially for the entire routes.
Exactly. It sounded like an ongoing problem that the governor has to fix.
Right. And turning now to politics and also in our backyard as well, in Thailand and its border, especially Thailand's relations with its neighbor Myanmar, because we reported last week about the incursion of a Myanmar aircraft into Thai airspace. And the Thai Prime Minister actually did say before that it was not really a big deal. And now other government figures echo the same dismissal of the opposition's attempt to grill it on this issue next month in a censure debate. So Government Chief Webb Nirod Sunthornlekha has warned the opposition that the plan by some of his MPs to question the government over last week's incursion by a Myanmar MiG-29 jet into Thai airspace over Tak province may undermine the country's national security, which could be deemed a criminal offense, and calling the plan to grill the government with this nonsensical. He said the incident is not a big deal and that the Thai government has already protested through diplomatic channels, and the incident did not manage to damage the relationship between the two countries. So he said he doubts whether the opposition really wants Thailand to declare on Myanmar war, basically on Myanmar over the incident, because the Myanmar government has already offered an apology, claiming that the incursion was just unintentional. And the opposition, however, wants the Thai government to get tough with Myanmar, according to him. So this was the opinion on the government side. On the opposition side, the Chief Whip Sutin Klangsang said they will insist that the censure debate, which may also include this incident from Myanmar, that the censure debate against Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha and 10 of his cabinet members will last quite a long time, like 5 days, plus a 6th day of voting scheduled for later this month. But the government's chief whip insisted that 4 days for debate and 1 day for the vote should actually suffice. So basically, this censure debate coming up later this month, just in the middle of this month, will be the 4th such debate against the second Prayut Chan-o-cha administration. The Prime Minister and all the ministers being targeted survived all the previous no confidence motions before. Well, we have to just wait and see what will happen, if the opposition will really grill the government over this incident or not. But one thing is for sure is, of course, this will be a perfect opportunity for the opposition to grill the government, to fulfill their duties as MPs, for example, representing that people. But when it comes to votes, actually the debate doesn't really count at all, because it's all about, how many seats each side has. It's just all internal politics here. So at least something will be out in the open with the debate.
Right, and it looks like the opposition parties have a lot of subjects to grill the ruling government as well. And now let's move on to cannabis. It has been almost a month now since the decriminalization of cannabis and hemp, but this has also sparked concerns about children and minors using the plants as well. And we've been hearing that there are more and more minors using them at school as well. Dr. Sutira Urapairotgit, a pediatrician at Ramathibodi Hospital, posted the story on her Facebook page of a secondary student who secretly brought cannabis to school in a water bottle and locked the classroom during lunchtime to smoke it. And this is actually one of the latest reports of minors accessing the decriminalized drug. Dr. Sutira said that the story came to light during a conversation between a child psychiatrist and a teacher who witnessed the incident. The teacher tried to stop the student, but the student threatened to punch the teacher. And in that particular post, the doctor further explained that the school had asked the students' parents to come in. The parents who agreed that their child should be sent for treatment said that they were supportive of the use of cannabis, as they both sell cannabis as well. The same pediatrician also expressed concern over the use of the herb as an ingredient in food and drinks, and how breastfeeding mothers using cannabis can harm their children. The actual post attracted a flood of comments, with many netizens questioning the role of the Ministry of Public Health in this matter. Since the decriminalization of cannabis and hemp on June 9th, except for extracts containing more than 0.2% THC, there has been a boom in the cultivation, sale, and the use of plants in Thailand. And although people under 20 years old, pregnant, or breastfeeding breastfeeding women are barred from using the substances. And schools have also declared their campuses as cannabis-free zones. Reports have emerged of some minors getting easy access to the substances, often that which has been left lying around by older family members, prompting much concern from the public. And we just said that we've been hearing more stories about minors having very easy access to the plants. We also previously reported that a baby girl mistakenly has eaten this cookie that contained cannabis as well. And this is very alarming to begin with, and parents who do buy cannabis and hemp or their extracts must be very cautious because children at that particular age may not know what cannabis is to begin with.
Exactly. So of course we are not over paranoid about the substances at all, but it works in the same way as, you know, cigarettes and alcohol, in a way that, well, is never good and not even legal for minors or some other groups of people as well. So, you know, being responsible adults, being responsible parents does help a lot. You just don't leave them lying around.
Exactly. And if you do buy food or drinks that contain cannabis, you make sure that you keep in a container or somewhere that is away from children's reach.
Yeah. And last but not least, actually we have some good news for Bangkokians here, especially you know, when you have been experiencing quite a lot of air pollution, PM 2.5 dust particles, for example, and with a plan to increase the number of trees and green spaces in the capital by the new Bangkok governor. This actually may be, you know, something that we have all waited for. So due to the positive public response to the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration's plan to plant 1 million trees over the course of 4 years, Bangkok Governor Chachan Sittipan said the target may be even increased to 2 million trees. Why not? So the governor joined members of the public, including Canadian Ambassador Sarah Taylor, in planting 130 trees yesterday at one of the parks, or known as Rotvai Park in Bangkok. And after designating Sundays as tree planting days in Bangkok, the governor also said he's pleased that about 1.3 million trees have already been offered by the people of Bangkok, and he might even increase the target. So he said members of the public interested in joining this project can register via the BMA mobile app, and while they don't have to worry about where the trees will be planted, they should get involved in tending to the trees and should not just rely on the BMA to do it. The BMA will find space in which the trees can be planted, which may be a mini park. And also the governor said the most ideal locations would be within walking distance of home, because traveling to big parks by people who live far away may take time and is expensive due to, of course, now quite high fuel prices. So the 130 trees planted yesterday include a lot of species, including raisin trees, the Gantong and Bodhi fig tree. So, wow, exotic, you know, a wide variety of trees. And this is actually a really good initiative and might be one of the answers. Of course, it's not just one answer to the air pollution problem, because, you know, we have to go through quite a lengthy process in negotiation also with industries, or even, you know, motorists using vehicles and fuels, for example, to come up with how to reduce the use and consumption as well.
It is a great initiative, and hopefully Bangkok will become a green city very soon.
Yeah, actually looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're wrapping up this edition of Thai PBS. While tonight you can catch us like this every weekday at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube and Facebook Live.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, including our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ